In this video discussion, he will travel back in time to rediscover one of the integral parts of our Philippine history, and we will also talk about the important events and explain its importance in understanding of history in the Philippine setting. Antonio Pigafetta 1491 c. 1534, born around 1490 in the town of Vicenza, Venice, Italy. He studied astronomy, geography, and cartography, and during his younger years worked in the ships owned by the Knights of Rhodes. His biographers described him as a well-educated young man possessing an avid curiosity of the world around him. He was among the 18 survivors who returned to Spain on September 6, 1520, to aboard the Victoria with Juan Sebastian Elcano. Ferdinand Magellan, February 3, 1480, April 25, 1521, Portuguese explorer who organized the Spanish expeditions to the East Indies from 1519 to 1522 to search for western route to the Maluku Island, Spice Island, resulting to the first circumnavigation of Earth completed by Juan Sebastian Elcano. Armada de Maluca, the name of the Spanish fleet led by Ferdinand Magellan, and was provided by King Charles. Antonio Pigafetta wrote his first-hand observation and general impression of the Far East, including their experiences in the Visayas. In Pigafetta's account, their fleet reached what he called the Ladrones Islands, or the Islands of the Thieves. Pigafetta described the Ladrones Islands, known as the Marianas Islands today, where the inhabitants use sticks with fish bones at the end as weapons due to their poverty and ingenuity. These islands are situated south-southeast of Japan, west-southwest of Hawaii, north of New Guinea, and east of the Philippines. Magellan and his fleet landed on an uninhabited island for security reasons after reaching Zamal Samar, where they were warmly welcomed by 9 reasonable men. The natives offered them food, drinks, and gifts, receiving rice, cocoas, and other supplies from the visitors. Pigafetta marveled at the coconut-bearing palm tree and the various food supplies provided by the locals. Pigafetta detailed the coconut palm's fruit, cocho, which has a green husk, a hard shell burnt to make powder, and a white marrow with the taste of almond. He noted the multiple uses of the coconut tree by the natives for cords, food, and powder. The inhabitants in Humano Islands guided the fleet to the watering place of good signs on Hamanan Island, demonstrating their friendliness and willingness to share knowledge about different islands in the region. The Europeans, led by Magellan, discovered gold in the archipelago of St. Lazarus and interacted with the locals by exchanging gifts and showcasing their weapons and armor. Magellan declined offers of gold and ginger, instead asking for provisions for his ships and expressing a friendly intent in visiting the islands. Magellan and his crew met the king of the Balangay, who offered gifts, provisions, and expressed a desire for brotherhood. The Europeans impressed the king with their armor and weapons, leading to a friendly relationship between the two parties. Magellan was introduced to the king's brother, King Raya Kalambu, who ruled over an island abundant in gold. The king was described as handsome, adorned with silk and gold accessories, and the island had structures made of gold due to its abundance in the area. On Easter Sunday, Magellan conducted a mass by the shore, which was attended by the local kings who participated in the rituals of the mass, showing respect for the Europeans' customs and religious practices. The king showed reverence by kissing the cross and adoring during the rituals. To symbolize his authority, Magellan planted a cross, nails, and crown as a sign of his emperor's authority in the places he visited, emphasizing his mission and authority. During the exploration of the islands, the planting of the cross in the Philippines by Magellan was significant for establishing their presence, avoiding conflicts with other Spaniards, and securing the release of any captives. The first Mass held marked this historic event, and the Magellan's Cross remains intact to this day. Magellan and his crew set on a journey to explore other islands like Ceylon, Bohol, and Cebu. With Raya Kalambu's guidance, they arrived at Cebu, the largest and most prosperous island. When asked to pay tribute by the King of Cebu, Magellan refused, asserting his status as a captain serving a king. Negotiations between Magellan and the King of Cebu took place, emphasizing the importance of forming an alliance rather than hostilities. The exchange of blood as a sign of friendship was proposed by the king, showcasing their willingness to establish good relations. Magellan addressed the people of Cebu, promoting peace and Christianity. The locals expressed interest in converting willingly to Christianity, appreciating the teachings brought by Magellan and his crew. The eldest child of the king, a daughter, was identified as the successor to the throne, highlighting their customs and beliefs. On April 14th, a significant gathering occurred where the King of Cebu was baptized as a Christian. Magellan urged the king to embrace Christianity by renouncing idols and embracing the cross. Tegafetta documented these events as a crucial step towards the spread of Christianity in the region. The king and his people taught to obey the captain's commands, and the king was baptized and named Don Charles. His son, Don Fernand, and others were given names of the captain's choosing. All inhabitants of the island were baptized after 8 days, with the village being burned down for disobedience. The king of Cebu pledged loyalty to Magellan, and the natives were urged to burn their idols and put their faith in Jesus Christ for healing. A man was baptized and miraculously regained his ability to speak, which was recorded as a miracle. A battle occurred in Mactan between Magellan's forces and the islanders led by Silapulapu, with the islanders attacking in 3 squadrons, leading to a fierce confrontation where the musketeers and crossbowmen initially found it challenging to stop the islanders. Magellan died in a battle with natives who believed their enemies were protected by armor. He was pierced with a poison throw in his right leg. Natives tried to intimidate them by burning villages, but Magellan was targeted because he was the captain general. He retaliated by piercing another native with his lance in the breast and attempting to draw his sword. As the captain's condition deteriorated, more natives attacked him, with one delivering a blow in Magellan's left leg. Tegafetta claimed the baptized king of Cebu could have sent help, but Magellan instructed him to stay in the Balangay to observe the battle. The king offered Mactan gifts in exchange for Magellan's body, but the chief refused, preferring to keep it as a memento of their victory. Magellan's men appointed Duarte Barbosa as captain, and Pigafetta recounted how Magellan's slave Henry betrayed them and informed the king of Cebu about their intention to leave quickly. The king invited them to a gathering, promising to present jewels to the king of Spain. The remaining Magellan's men were betrayed. Tegafetta couldn't join the 24 men due to his battle wounds. They heard cries and lamentations as natives killed all but the interpreter and wounded Juan Serrano. Serrano demanded ransom, but the crew refused, leaving Serrano behind. The fleet left Cebu and continued their journey around the world. Reasons why Pigafetta was admitted to join the voyage: his educational background. He has experience in working in the ships, formerly worked in the ships owned by the Knights and Rhodes. He is one of the Sobrisalient supernumeraries, men coming from the prominent families who will join the trip for the love of adventure. He has advanced military service, training. Discoveries of Ferdinand Magellan and his men. Magellan Expeditus proves that the Earth is not flat, but an oblate sphere. They demolish the myth that there is boiling water at the equator. Magellan and his men completed the first circumnavigation of the world. They confirmed that the Portuguese route is not the only way to the Spice Island, and they proved the theory that one can go to the east by sailing west. 18 men returned to Seville aboard Victoria in 1522. Context analysis. What significant events and encounters are detailed in Pigafetta's account? Antonio Pigafetta's account of Ferdinand Magellan's first circumnavigation details significant events and interactions during the voyage. After passing through the Strait of Magellan, the crew encountered the Pacific Ocean and later reached the Ladrones Island, or presently known as Mariana's Island. Magellan and crews reached various islands, including Samar and Hamanan, where they found the first sign of gold. They met local leaders, exchanged gifts, and held the first mass in the Philippines. Magellan formed an alliance with the King of Cebu through a blood compact. The journey faced challenges, such as food shortages and conflicts, notably during the Battle of Mactan, where Magellan was killed. Pigafetta's narrative highlights the diverse cultures encountered and the expedition's eventual return to Spain, marking the completion of the first round-the-world voyage. How does Pigafetta describe the customs, clothing, and traditions of the people they encountered in the Philippines? In Pigafetta's account of Magellan's first voyage, he describes the people they encountered in the Philippines as having vibrant customs and traditions. He notes their colorful clothing, often made from woven fabrics, adorned with intricate designs. The locals practiced various rituals, including ceremonies for births and deaths, and showed a strong sense of community through communal feasting and celebrations. Pigafetta also highlights their welcoming nature, as they shared food and resources with the crew, reflecting a rich cultural tapestry that was both fascinating and different from European practices. What observations does Pigafetta make about the geography, flora, and fauna of the places visited? Pigafetta describes the geography as diverse, with islands that are both lush and mountainous. He notes the presence of rich forests and abundant natural resources. The flora includes tropical plants and fruit-bearing trees, particularly noting coconuts, a staple for the local inhabitants. In terms of fauna, he observes various exotic animals, such as large birds and sea creatures that were unfamiliar to Europeans at the time. Pigafetta's detailed descriptions showcase the natural beauty and wealth of the regions they explored. Are there any challenges or obstacles faced by the crew upon their arrival in the Philippines? How did these challenges impact their journey? Upon arriving in the Philippines, the crew faced cultural and linguistic barriers when trying to communicate with the native populations. Additionally, they encountered unfamiliar political dynamics, including conflicts between local rulers. Another major challenge was the lack of fresh supplies and the impact of diseases on the crew, which weakened them physically. The relationship between Magellan and local rulers also became strained, particularly leading to the fatal confrontation in the Battle of Mactan. These challenges slowed their progress and contributed to Magellan's eventual death, altering the course of their expedition. Who was Antonio Pigafetta, and what his role in Magellan's expedition? Antonio Pigafetta, c. 1491. c. 1531, was an Italian scholar and explorer from the Republic of Venice. Under the auspices of King Charles I of Spain, he joined explorer Ferdinand Magellan's journey to the Spice Islands, and following Magellan's death in the Philippines, the subsequent circumnavigation of the globe, he supported Magellan during the expedition and kept a detailed notebook that helped him later on when interpreting Cebuano. It is the first document about the language that has been preserved. Out of the about 240 soldiers that set out 3 years earlier, Pigafetta was one of the 18 men who, under Juan Sebastian Elcano's command, returned to Spain in 1522. The first circumnavigation of the globe was accomplished by these men. Most of the information concerning Magellan and Elcano's expedition comes from Pigafetta's notebook, which is still in existence. At least one warship of the Italian Navy, a destroyer of the Navigatore class, was named after him in 1931. What were the main objectives of Magellan's voyage, as described by Pigafetta? One of Magellan's main objectives was to search for new maritime paths to the Spice Island that would not violate Spain's treaty with Portugal. What was the historical context of the early 16th century during Magellan voyage? Magellan voyage was a product of the age of exploration driven by a combination of economic, religious, and political factors. The voyage was a significant achievement both for its scientific discoveries and its impact on global trade and exploration. The voyage also marked the beginning of a new era in the history of the Americas as European powers began to exert their influence on the continent. How does Pigafetta's account contribute to our understanding of the age of exploration? Pigafetta's account of Magellan's voyage helps us to understand the age of exploration. It serves as the testament of the courage, ambition, and resilience of Magellan's in the age of exploration. His detailed account helped to clearly understand what are the happenings, challenges, and the transformation during that time up to present. Pigafetta's account not only offers a glimpse of the world in the 16th century, but it also serves as a reminder of the enduring of the human aspiration to explore, discover, and expand our understanding towards the world we had in our past and the world we have today. What is the significance of the account of Antonio Pigafetta to us Filipino in the present day? Antonio Pigafetta's account of Magellan's voyage is a valuable historical document that offers a unique perspective on the pre-colonial Philippines. His work provides insights into the lives, customs, and beliefs of Filipinos before European colonization, the first encounter between Filipinos and Europeans, and the lasting impact of colonization on Filipino identity. Pigafetta's account remains relevant for Filipinos today and in the future, serving as a reminder of the country's complex past and the importance of understanding its roots.